Timing is everything. It's one of the most repeated cliches out there, but it is just so true. And today, with the help of some candy like this, I'm going to try to demonstrate that for you. So let's start simple. As most of you know, deer react negatively to hunting pressure. When you and your presence is in a property, deer are going to react negatively to that, especially mature bucks. And that reaction, most of the time, is going to hurt your chances in the future when trying to hunt them. So with that being the case, if you're trying to kill a mature buck, you need to be extremely careful about when you place that pressure on those deer, especially when you're hunting those deer, and most importantly, when you're applying that pressure to your best hunting spots. The average hunter might scout a property and find a great spot, but then, because it's so good, he wants to go in there and start hunting it right away. So he goes in there day one of the season, regardless of conditions, and maybe he sees a few deer, but not the big buck. The next time he gets to hunt, he heads right back in there because it's so good, and he sees fewer deer. He goes back in there again the next day, fewer deer. And then this trend continues, and he's left wondering, why am I seeing fewer deer, and where are the big bucks? On the other hand, the most consistently successful mature buck hunters, when they find a great spot, they're going to save it for when the time and conditions are right. And only then, only when those conditions are right, only when the timing is right, then they're going to head in and hunt those spots. And by doing that, when they do go in on those days, when the conditions are right, when deer are most likely to move, now they're hunting deer that haven't been pressured. They're hunting deer that are reacting or are acting normal, not impacted by past hunting pressure, resulting in these deer being much more huntable and the odds being much more in that hunter's favor. So let's break this down visually. All right, now bear with me, this is going to be a little bit raw visually, but I think it demonstrates an important point. All right, so hunter number one starts the season and he's got about relatively even odds to start, about 4 candies in the for column, 4 candies in the against column. He goes out in that first night. He found a great stand. The season opens. He wants to hunt right away. Conditions are not really in his favor, but he heads out there. He doesn't have any success. Because of that hunt and that pressure he put on the deer, 1 candy goes to the against column for future hunts. Hunt number 2 comes around. Again, conditions aren't really in his favor. His odds are actually lower now, but still he wants to hunt. Doesn't see anything. Odds continue to go down. Night number 3, same thing. Not great conditions. Odds are getting even worse. Hunts again, no kill. Now things are getting really out of shape. Now night number 4 comes and he gets a cold front. Things are good. Deer should be moving. He gets a couple candy bars in his favor, but now there are so many of these against him that the odds are still out of his favor. Now, hunter number 2 is in a different scenario. He starts out again with 4 candies each, but he does not hunt night number 1. He waits night number 2, waits for night number 3. Night number 4 comes along. Now he gets that cold front. He gets the 2 big candy bars in his favor. This time though, because he didn't put pressure on the deer the 3 previous nights, his pile outweighs the against pile, and he's in the money. Now, yes, pretty simple, but it's an important point to always think about when you go out and hunt. Every time I head out hunting, I'm always thinking about the ramifications of the hunting pressure I'm going to be putting on those deer. And if I don't think odds are enough in my favor based on some type of factor, whether it be the time of year, the weather conditions, or maybe some scouting intel, if those things don't point me into a direction where I think there's a really good chance for there to be deer movement in that area on that night, I'm not going to hunt one of those best stands. Instead, I'm going to wait until the conditions are right. I don't want a whole bunch of pieces of candy in the against column. So yes, while it's awesome to find a great new spot, if you're not being careful about your timing and you blow that spot before the time is right, you're never going to get to reap the benefits. So next time you're in that situation, remember this candy bar. Make sure your timing is right and be like hunter number 2, the guy with all the candy.